All right, I realize that might have looked pretty stupid because I sat down here and realized I was in manual focus, so I have no idea if any of that was in focus. But we're going with it, because that's how we roll here. I asked the guy last night, what was this hotel before? Because I'm always curious, because you look at these spaces, and yeah, there was an answer. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's a wedding facility over here, an events facility. They have mostly weddings. And it's a beautiful view because you can get married on the porch out there with the Hudson as the background. There's no construction on the other side. It's all, I don't know if it's protected, but it's green. I'm not a bevy of information. We all know that by now. Yeah, you definitely went off on a tangent. Anyway, today, what I'm doing before I go home, because I extended this another day, the airport closed down, my flight was canceled. So I got another day here. And again, in the mornings with coffee, before I shoot that crappy opening sequence, I kind of spend some time going through, and I was researching blog sites, websites of different areas. And again, I resorted to AI to kind of put together a tailor-made little journey for me. So I think I'm going to go toward Caterskill Falls, possibly stopping in Hudson on the way, and then driving to a place called North-South Lake. It says look for Artist Rock or Sunset Rock, then going through Tannersville, maybe grab a quick bite there, and then heading toward the Ashokan Reservoir, south on Route 214 toward Phoenicia. And it's supposed to be a nice ride there. Ending up near the historical Kingston waterfront, eventually making my way to Nyack, which is where my last hotel site is at. So it's a cute little town here. I like it. Love the view. Check it out.
So apparently the Dutch settled here in the 1600s and called it Coxsackie, which also meant a place of owls. Just learned that actually. The Hudson still moves at that steady pace, carrying echoes of commerce and quiet industry that once defined this shore. Let's take a quick walk downtown, check this place out, see if we can still feel the hum of a town caught between revival and remembrance.
We're in a really quiet section of town. This is the hotel that I'm staying at. Like I said, I stayed here last year, about this exact same time. Pretty close. There's a place called Patrick Henry's that I had dinner at, a little Irish pub. This is a unique place here. I had a couple of drinks here last year when I was actually drinking. I wonder if they have any NA, non-alcoholic drinks. Looks like they're only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday now. Had some interesting conversations with a few people in there. There was I'll have to go back and grab some photos. I remember there being a dog in there hanging out on a bench or something, or on a couch.
I'm very surprised. Every night.
Funny the things you remember. So I'm gonna take a shortcut through here. Gonna head over to this breakfast place I remember eating at before. I do remember the tree across the street was bright yellow. I snapped a couple of shots. I'll share them here. We're a little early for that by a couple of weeks. Again, when I planned this trip, I really didn't expect to see a ton of fall color, but I've seen a bunch actually through New Hampshire. A little early for the color here. Now, this is the tree I'm talking about right here. The green one on the right, as opposed to the shots I had last time I was here. Again, I was here October 27th. I think I'm walking through dog shit. Close call. I remember taking a bunch of photos here and doing some video. I don't think I ever put the videos together. I've been treating this year, it's really like, it's kind of a mission for me to document this whole thing. It's been a lot of work, but man, I've really been enjoying it. Again, even if nobody watches this, you don't think about that when you're creating things. You think about creating. Sometimes there's an audience, sometimes there's not. A couple of storefronts over here. Totally open. Vacant. Great corner though. I'm really surprised there's nothing here. This one they're trying to show you what it could be. Could be anything. Food related. I don't know if this is part of the same one. It's empty. Yeah. Well, let's focus on the positive here. This side's empty, but it's still a cute little main street. Reasonably priced hotel for what I get. I mean, that view is amazing, and it's actually been cheaper than certainly all lodging in Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine, to be honest with you. So talking about creating art and having an audience, you know, I was on the tour yesterday, and I'm pretty sure, well, I know it was the tour guide that I was with that went on the nature or the landscape section outside. He's very knowledgeable. It was a general store. He was really knowledgeable. And I'm not sure who, I'm pretty sure he was talking about Thomas Cole, which is a really famous American painter. And here's that tree I was mentioning. He really wasn't famous, didn't become famous until after he died. I mean, he died poor. Was it Thomas Cole? Or was one of these people he was talking about? One of these artists. I don't think it was Frederick Church. Let's get down this way. You know, Frederick had that property. He built that property. He managed his funds well. He bought all that land. He created that. Funny story, he had 4 kids. And one of them took care of him in his later years when he had rheumatoid arthritis, and he couldn't paint anymore, couldn't really get around, and one of the kids stepped up to the plate and took care of him. And he bequeathed the entire property, the house, the business, everything to him. And I think he sent the other 3 like a card or something, and left them nothing. And I said, on the tour there was only like 4 or 5 of us. I says, well, I guess it pays to take care of your parents. So yeah, again, you never know. I don't think a lot of artists create for the money. You know, Church did the right things because he had a creative mind and obviously a business mind, which is hard to find. You know, I've worked with a lot of event designers that it's hard to have that, not that union, but that collection of both. The hell's the word I'm looking for? Combination. We too dark here? There we go. So, that being said, I don't expect to make bank ever on these videos, but it doesn't stop me from creating them. And a lot of the great artists, not that I'm comparing myself to Thomas Cole or any of these amazing artists, but I share that Looks like it's ready to fall down. I share that common characteristic with them. Cute little bit. It looks like this was plucked out of a Norman Rockwell painting. This building behind me. And then over here was it's the place that's attached to that little bar that I told you about. And it's like a little, I don't know what you want to call it, a curiosity shop of sorts. I think the girl that works there, hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Telemarketer, no chance. Where are we at here? Unquiet antiques, interiors, insubordination. What? So the girl took me on a quick tour when I was, look at that. You can't see in there, can you? It's a bad tour, isn't it? Anyway, she led me through there that night when I was there hanging out, having a couple drinks with the locals. It's a crazy scene, actually. Feels good not to drink. You know, I wake up in the morning and I'm just sharp as a tack and ready to attack the day. Of course, I'm getting a late start here because I did sleep in. I was watching the hurricane stuff till, well, probably a little later than I should have. 1 in the morning. That has been your discount walking tour of Coxsackie, New York, or Coxsackie, or however you pronounce it.
I've often wondered what these composers were thinking about when they create this music for us to use. I mean, for example, this song's from my Music Bed subscription, and I'm quite sure that the artist, when he created this, had no idea that a 61-year-old man would be using this to help add some flavor to his travel stories. I'm sure he had a romantic wedding in mind or something like that. But anyway, I'm trying to make sense of about 2.5 hours worth of footage I have here on the timeline. I went off on a few tangents, and here I am a year later listening to some of the rants that I had. It's about a month before the election, and we had some tornado activity in Florida, and there was bipartisan bickering about who was in charge of what and who was doing a good job, and I just really kind of got caught up in all of that, and I was talking to the camera and ranting, and it's not even interesting for me to watch at this point, much less to listen to. So I'm trying to tidy this thing up. I was thinking a little bit about when I started this journey. Now, mind you, when we're done with this video here, we're going to be 24 states in on my 50 at 60 journey. I had a lot of high hopes for telling, I don't know, my unique perspective, maybe a little bit more information about where I was. Sometimes I was successful, I guess. Sometimes I failed. I really wanted to tell a lot more stories of others. And this was one of those places, actually. I forgot I knew somebody that lived in this area, and I did meet up with her later on this afternoon, or the afternoon of this day here in Hudson. And we had a conversation, but I really wish I would have gotten her on camera. But I did recently reach out to see if she was interested in doing like a Zoom interview, and kind of went back and forth in direct messages. I don't really think she was interested, so kind of failed there. I really do hope to go back and do some more interviews to tie some of these stories together, but anyway, I'm not sure why I'm rambling. Probably showing some footage as I'm driving here. And trying to get rid of some of this footage that I don't think really is relevant to the story. And to be honest with you, I'm not interested in even sharing the political view that I had that day. You could probably imagine what it was, but we'll just get back to, I think we'll pick it up from, I think I had some conversation to myself about the chat that I had with my friend there in Hudson. I might come back to help tighten the story up here if it needs it. Yeah, if you're still here, thanks for being here. Wow, 24 states. All right, let's get back to the story.
So I'm retracing a few steps today. Came back into the town of Hudson and just met up with an old friend briefly. Had a short walk and a conversation, and was kind of getting a little bit of, another perspective on the town, and it's what it used to be and what it's becoming. And again, the only way you learn a little bit about a place is not only experiencing it, but talking to people who are part of it. And yeah, it used to be a pretty rough place, apparently. She's told me a couple of stories about how the person that she's working with in the store, her partner essentially, how, back in the day,
at the next light, turn right.
A couple of drug dealers essentially ran the town. And I guess the whole family ended up getting, once they were put in jail or taken away, things really cleaned up. So kind of New York mafia stuff. Anyway, it was nice to get a new perspective.
At the light, turn right onto State Route 23.
Or another perspective. We talked about different roads that are, everything. But more importantly, it's kind of nice to touch base and see an old friend from years gone by.
In 2.6 miles, at the roundabout, take the first exit.
She reminded me of I thought it was, there's a Thomas Cole, I think it's Thomas Cole Historical Site or Museum or something, over the bridge. And it's kind of opposite side of where I was yesterday. So I think I'm going to explore that. Really love his work. Every time I'm at the Met, I kind of gravitate toward that sort of art. Really love the Dutch paintings from the Dutch landscapes from 200-300 years ago, and then also the early American artists, landscape artists. I love that stuff, and I try to duplicate a lot of that, I guess, in my own photography. All right, so now we're going to check out the other side of the Hudson and look at some Thomas Cole work. After that, we'll just kind of look at the watch. I don't wear a watch. Look at the iPhone, see what time it is, and determine, am I going to go into the Catskills again? We'll see.
In 1 mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit.
I love the randomness of these days.
It was sublime. I have found no natural scenery which has affected me so powerfully as that which I have seen in the wilderness of America. To that of power and glory, improvement.
So I talk a lot on these vlogs about people's pivot moment and wanting to share pivot moments. And I don't necessarily capture them to share, but I like to talk about them if I don't capture them. One was, I was talking to a lady upstairs. She was in the second floor of the Thomas Cole home,
And what a wealth of information. And as I was leaving, I says, you know, I don't know how you maintain all this information. You really sound like you're passionate about this. And she's like, you know, I used to be a nurse, and or be in healthcare, and I was a nurse, and this has been a gift that I'm able to do this in my retirement. And I says, you sound pretty passionate about this. I says, it sounds like you are living your pivot moment. She said, absolutely, which I thought was cool. And I talk about it so much. And I guess the more you talk about it, you find it. And I don't know what's going on with this microphone. Is it coming out? Hope so. Text in, let us know. This series called The Voyage of Life was probably one of the most impressive series or pieces, collection of pieces I've ever seen. I saw these in the Washington DC Museum of Art. It's kind of a reproduction print of it, but full scale these things were I was mesmerized. Anyway, this is another view of the studio. A bad one, because it's a reflection. I hope my luggage is still in the car. Bought a couple of small booklets, plus a book. Again, his work has inspired me, and creatively moved me many times. So, yeah, it was cool to hear about this place. After a quick visit today with an old friend, she reminded me of this place. So here we are. Hudson River Skywalk. Quarter of a mile to the Bridge Park. Let's go check it out. So apparently this walk takes you to where I was yesterday, Olana. It's on the other side of the bridge. We're not walking there. I can actually see it over the bridge. Oh, I wish I had my other camera here. I'll have to pinch in and give you a cell phone shot in a second. Anyway, talking about pivot moments, I was having a conversation with this person earlier, about an hour ago, a couple hours ago, and there was a whole section of her life. I hadn't really talked to her in years. I knew her back in my early 20s. And there was she went through a couple of cycles in her life, transitions, career changes, and she's around my age, and she's currently, again, experiencing a pivot moment. Moved to an area. In fact, she was living up in this area, but now she moved real close, in Hudson, and is working out of this new place. But again, it's one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you're pivoting in life. It sounds like she pivoted a few times, but that stuff really interests me. I would have loved to have gotten her on video, because it's kind of this theme that I'm trying to build on in these videos. She's very creative too, but it's just nice to chat as well. Didn't have a lot of time to say, hey, do you mind if I shove a camera in your face? I've got several questions for my vlog. So I don't know where the hell I'm going here. I think it's a park down here. Maybe. I don't even know if this sound's coming out. Well, check this out. Interesting colors. So we're walking down a hill now on this bridge. If you can even hear me. Speaking of pivot moments, there's a video that's going to be live this weekend. It was my first interview, kind of a sit-down interview, the only one really so far. I've had conversations, but no sit-down interview. But it was with the guy, the proprietor, innkeeper in Galena, where he really talked about, well, a little bit about his pivot moment. And I was reminded of that. I was glancing at that the other day to make sure that it was okay to go live. And again, it's a topic that I was faced again with today. I don't know why that interests me. I think because I wonder, I'm curious why some people can make a pivot fairly easily in life, and it takes other people, I don't know, maybe they dream of changing and they never do. I know finances have a lot to do with it. But what makes people make the decisions they... Lack of fear, I guess. Fear. False evidence appearing real. I think is one of those real estate investor training seminars I went to. Talked a lot about that. There's also fear of losing money if you buy the wrong property, so let's get real. Anyway, I'm almost out of here. I think I've seen enough. I think it's a little late, but I'm going to head into the Catskills. It seems only appropriate. I mean, Thomas Cole painted a lot of stuff there. There's a waterfall, one specific one. I think that's where I'm going to head next. Let's hit the road.
Well, I told you I might come back, and here I am. Yeah, I wish I would have spent a little bit more time in that Thomas Cole experience, really describing what I was seeing. His work is amazing. Maybe I could pop a couple of screen shares up here of some of his work. Definitely one of my favorite landscape artists for sure, and has inspired me to look, well, at the landscape a little bit differently when I photograph, to say the least. So I've got a few more clips here that I think would probably be best left for another episode. The color was really starting to pop here in the Catskills, and did a lot of nice driving, as well as a really nice walk in the Catskills. So yeah, I don't want to rush this episode out, and of course, again, it would be way too long. So we're going to cut this one short. Not really short. We're going to cut it off, and I'll see you on the next one. As always, thanks for being here. I'll see you next week, where we continue this journey through New York and end the New England section, or the New England season of my 50 at 60 journey. I'll see you next week.